Welcome to the AJ Awesome Show, a show about my favorite things. My name is AJ and my special guest for this episode is Renee Young. I hope you like the show! Hi everybody, I'm here with Renee Young.
Hi!
How did you get involved with wrestling?
Well, I got involved with wrestling when I was working for a TV station in Canada called The Score, and they used to air all WWE. They had Monday Night Raw, they had Friday Night SmackDown, they had a bunch of other programs. So when I was working there, they asked me if I wanted to start hosting some WWE shows for them, and I fell in love with wrestling again. And I just was fully submerged in that world, wanted to be a part of it. And then when the opportunity came up for me to actually go work for WWE, of course I had to jump at that opportunity. I had no idea what I was going to be doing for WWE. I had not a clue that 8 years later that I would still be working for WWE, haven't been able to do all of the awesome things I've been able to do there. I just kind of took a leap of faith and it worked out.
You've had a lot of different roles in wrestling. Which one is your favorite?
Ooh, my favorite role in wrestling would probably be when I did Talking Smack. I absolutely love doing Talking Smack. I feel like that was me in my element the most from the time that I was in WWE. I of course loved doing WWE backstage when I was working with Fox. That was such a fun show to do, to get to do a big studio show and work for a big fancy network. That experience was really, really fun. And honestly, I've always really liked doing the backstage interviews. I come from more of an acting background, and that sort of felt like I was getting to do that a little bit more. So I really loved doing those, especially dealing with the bad guys, dealing with their bad attitudes.
What inspired you to write a cookbook?
I love cookbooks. I'm like a cookbook enthusiast. I love reading cookbooks. So I wanted to make a book that I would want to read and a book that I wanted to flip through. So I'm still in the process of doing everything. I'm actually shooting the cover for the cookbook on Tuesday, shooting some of the photos for the inside. I literally just got back from grocery shopping, hence I am in a hat, no makeup on. Just got back. My kitchen is filled with food right now. I have a lot of cooking to do in the next 48 hours. But yeah, I just love cooking. When I'm home and I'm off the road and I get to just sort of unwind, that's my favorite thing to do, is chopping and dicing food and slow cooking things and making the house smell really nice. It makes me very, very happy.
What is your favorite dish to make at home?
Ooh, well, I would say the most requested dish to make at my house is barbecue chicken thighs. My husband loves when I make barbecue chicken thighs. That one's a big hit. Last night I started making my squid ink pasta. That one's very, very good. It's indulgent, so I don't have it all that often, but that one's really good. Maybe, and I also just got a smoker too, so I've been smoking a ton of meats. I've been doing some ribs. I did a pork loin, doing some hamburgers. I've been grilling a lot this summer, so that's kind of what I've been leaning on lately.
If you weren't in the pro wrestling business, what else do you think you would do?
Well, I started out doing more sports broadcasting when I got into more of the broadcasting side of my career. So maybe something along those lines, maybe something a little more hockey oriented. Maybe, I always loved covering basketball. That was always a ton of fun. But first and foremost, my main thing, I loved doing more like comedy and just like hosting shows. I've always wanted to have like a variety show where I can be the main host. I can have maybe a co-host, have on guests, have a musical act. Just sort of do a little bit of everything. I've wanted to have like that daytime show, like a Kelly Ripa type of job. When Chelsea Handler used to have her late night show, that was something that I really wanted to do. So that was always sort of the main goal for me. So I always still kind of think about how I can get back into doing stuff like that.
Could you tell me about how you got into hockey?
I'm Canadian. You have to. You cannot be Canadian and not love hockey. You got to. I mean, my dad used to take me to hockey games when I was a kid. I used to play ringette, which is a lot like hockey. I used to play hockey a little bit too, but I'm much better at ringette. So yeah, I think it was just a love of being on the ice, a love of skating, the hard hitting side of it, how fast paced it is. And yeah, it's just such a part of Canadian culture that just to sit back, watch a hockey game, depending on which team you're rooting for. I used to have to go for the Leafs when I lived in Toronto. Lately, I've been jumping on the bandwagon of the Vegas Golden Knights. It's been a lot of fun to watch the playoffs this season.
I really like the Blues because they're our hometown hero.
Nice. Who's your favorite player?
I don't know. There are a lot of good ones.
Yeah, hard to pick sometimes.
There's Stinko's fun. There's Bennington. He's a really good.
He's very good. Oh my gosh, he's like a brick wall. He's insane.
I also, from what I've seen, I really like Wayne Gretzky.
Oh yeah, of course, the great one. He's the absolute best. He's very, very good. Yeah, love that guy. Classic.
Do you have any advice for girls wanting to play hockey?
Oh, just lace them up and get out there. You can't be afraid. You got to put on those skates, put on the equipment, put on your helmet, and just feel it out. It's not always easy. I just went and played a little bit the other day. I have not worn hockey skates in 15 years. So when I first stepped on the ice, I was like, whoa, am I going to be able to still skate and not fall on my butt? Miraculously, I was able to pull it off. But yeah, you just got to get out there and try it. You're going to fall down. You might get hurt a little bit, but you just got to dust it off and get back to it.
What is something that surprised you about the U.S. when you moved from Canada?
Ooh, gosh. I think how different our snacks are. We have like way different snacks in Canada than you guys have here. So I really miss my ketchup chips. I can get all dressed chips, or at least I could. Now the borders are closed between Canada and the US with COVID and everything. So I can't get them right now. But yeah, that would be sort of the main thing, is some of the food that I miss the most.
Have you ever thought about becoming a wrestler?
No, I don't think that that's a great idea. As much as I come from like an athletic background, I played a ton of sports growing up. I always thought that was sort of a funny thing that I ended up working in WWE, being more of an athlete on that side. But by the time I started working and getting into that field, I was not doing that anymore. I was just on like the broadcasting, hosting side. So I think it just gives me such an appreciation for the athletics that these guys are able to pull off inside the ring. I'm always so impressed. So I'll stick to talking about it. I'll let them do the heavy lifting.
If you suddenly wanted to become a wrestler, just you changed your mind, who would you want to challenge?
Probably Bailey, because she's got a bit of a bad attitude lately. I see her calling me out all the time. So listen, I might not be a WWE superstar in that sense, but if she wanted to throw down, I'm not afraid to throw down. We're going to have a bob off. Whoever loses has to cut their bob haircut right off. Shave it.
Do you get nervous watching your husband wrestle in his crazy matches like against Kenny Omega?
I do, yes. It's very hard for me. Sometimes I'm like watching his matches like through my eyes like this. He stresses me out a lot. Sometimes because he'll be gone on the road working and I'll be at home. And as soon as he walks in the house, I need to like assess the damage that has been done. I make him give me like a 360 turnaround, show me what's happened, where he's at. He came home with a black eye 2 weeks ago, so I've been nursing that a little bit for him. But yeah, he always stresses me out when he steps in the ring. The guy's a maniac.
What is your favorite type of music?
Ooh, I bounce around a lot. Yeah, it depends. One of my favorite things to do is listening to Canadian radio stations. Sometimes I just want to put on the radio and not even think about what I'm putting on. Just get to hear new artists, hear new bands that I might not have heard of before. because often I'll just flip through my Spotify or whatever's on my Apple Music, and it's stuff that I've already downloaded and listened to a million times. So it's fun to listen to the radio and get to hear some new upcoming artists and see who's out there. But I've been on a big Cage the Elephant kick lately. They're one of my favorites. They're such a cool, great band. Also a lot of great like country. I wouldn't say like their country. It's more like country folk, but like some badass chicks from like Brandy Carlisle, the girls that are in The Highwomen. I love Margot Price is very cool. Obviously, Casey Musgraves is great. Maren Morris, those are girls I really like. And the new Dixie Chicks album is very good. Sorry, the Chicks. They're just the Chicks now, but they're great.
I've met Cage the Elephant several times, and
Really?
I've liked them a while too.
Wow, that's awesome. Jealous.
I think I've actually interviewed one of the guitarists.
Wow, lucky you. Getting all these names. That's awesome. Very cool.
Who was your favorite wrestler when you were a kid?
Goldust. Goldust has always been one of my absolute favorites. I love the character of Goldust. I love the different variations of the character Goldust. I love how much he pushed the envelope when people really weren't doing what he was doing on TV. I think he opened up a whole new fan base for WWE. He's just one of the absolute best, and to see him backstage at shows, he's one of those guys that really loves to help the younger generation to understand the psychology of matches, working on obviously the physical side of everything. But yeah, he's one of my absolute favorites.
If you could interview any wrestler ever, who would it be and why?
Ooh. Gosh, you know what? Probably Roddy Piper. I never got to spend too much time with Roddy Piper. He's one that I always wish that I got to know more. I've only met him in passing a handful of times before he passed. But he's just one of the absolute best wrestling personalities. So much energy, so much creativity. People often draw the comparison between him and my husband as well. So I'm sure we might be able to get along. He's a good Canadian guy as well, so that helps. But yeah, I think Roddy Piper would be one for sure.
For me, I would have to say either your husband. I've watched him as long as I can remember in wrestling. The first T-shirt I've had for wrestling was a Dean Ambrose shirt.
Nice. Didn't you get to interview him at some point? Didn't you ask him when he won a championship or something?
I asked him a question.
Nice.
After Revolution.
Well, he remembered you because I told him I was going to be interviewed by you, and he said that he'd met you before.
Also, I would really like to interview John Cena. He would be another one that I would like.
That's a good one.
Like Ambrose, I've watched him for a long time. And maybe Jericho.
Ooh, yeah, very good ones. Those guys would definitely give you some great interviews. You got to keep trying to reach out to everybody on social media, let people hear about you, see what you're doing. I'm sure if you keep knocking on those doors, someone's going to open it for you.
What is something about you that would surprise people?
Gosh. I don't know. I feel like I'm an open book. I feel like most people know things about me. I have an excessive amount of clothes in my house. Like I might be like an over shopper. I have like too many random things in my house. Too many random t-shirts, band t-shirts. Like how you're wearing a Moxley shirt right now. I do that for like bands that I really love. I end up having all these packages come to the house of like this person's t-shirt or this record. That kind of stuff is always kind of showing up at my front door. Much to my husband's chagrin. He hates it. Drives him nuts.
That's the end. Thanks for the interview.
Thanks so much.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the AJ Awesome Show. I would like to thank Renee Young for being my special guest. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.